Have you ever felt like life has knocked you down one too many times? Like no matter how hard you try, the weight of mistakes, failures, or missed opportunities keeps you from moving forward. I want to tell you something today that may shake the way you see yourself. The power to rebuild your life is not in the hands of fate, luck, or anyone else. It's in your hands. Every one of us has moments where we feel broken, lost, or unsure of the next step. But here's the truth, those moments are not the end of your story, they are the beginning. Every setback, every mistake, every disappointment is an invitation to rise, to reset, and to redefine who you are. The question is, will you accept that invitation? Will you take responsibility for your life, let go of what no longer serves you, and start the deliberate work of becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before? Today, I want to show you that rebuilding yourself is not only possible, it's inevitable if you decide to take action, embrace growth, and refuse to be defined by yesterday. Self-responsibility is the cornerstone of any meaningful transformation. It is the understanding that your life is the direct result of the choices you make, the habits you cultivate, and the mindset you maintain. Many people wander through life waiting for someone or something to fix their circumstances, to provide the right opportunity, or to correct the mistakes that have already been made. They blame the economy, society, upbringing, or luck for their current state. While it is true that external factors influence life, the power to rebuild yourself lies not in controlling those forces, but in mastering your own response to them. Every individual has the ability to decide how to react, how to grow, and how to change. And this begins with embracing full responsibility for their life. To take responsibility is to acknowledge that you are the architect of your own destiny. It is to recognize that no one else is coming to write your story for you, and that the only way forward is to pick up the pen and start crafting the life you want to live. Taking responsibility is not always easy. It requires honesty and courage to face your weaknesses, your failures, and your own role in the outcomes you've experienced. It demands that you stop looking outward for excuses and start looking inward for solutions. For example, if you find yourself in a career that brings no fulfillment, blaming the job market or a boss will not change anything. The shift happens when you say, what can I do differently? What skills can I acquire? What mindset must I adopt to create a different outcome? That moment of clarity where you stop externalizing blame and start internalizing control is the exact moment you begin to rebuild yourself. Embracing self-responsibility also means recognizing the power of choice in every moment. Life does not hand out perfect situations, and circumstances will rarely align exactly as you hope. Yet, between stimulus and response, there is a space where your power exists. You can choose to act or to remain passive. You can choose to grow or to stagnate. You can choose to take the lessons from failure or let them weigh you down. Those who rebuild themselves understand that the quality of their life is determined not by what happens to them, but by how they respond. Responsibility is not a burden, it is liberation. When you own your choices, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are empowered to shape your destiny, to rebuild brick by brick, to create the life you desire. This principle extends beyond the big decisions in life. It applies to daily habits, to the way you speak to yourself, to the energy you bring into each situation. Every action, no matter how small, is a declaration of responsibility. Choosing to wake up early and work on personal growth, choosing to read, to exercise, to practice discipline, these are expressions of self-responsibility that compound over time. Each choice builds a foundation for a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Conversely, avoiding responsibility, procrastinating, or blaming circumstances erodes your foundation and leaves you feeling powerless. The life you live today is a reflection of the choices you have already made, and the life you will live tomorrow depends entirely on the choices you make today. Taking responsibility also means accepting the full consequences of your actions without seeking external validation or sympathy. It is easy to blame others when mistakes are made or when plans fail, but those who truly embrace this mindset see failure as feedback, not punishment. They ask themselves what they could have done differently and how they can apply the lessons moving forward. This ability to extract lessons from every situation transforms setbacks into stepping stones. It allows you to rebuild yourself stronger than before because each experience, whether success or failure, becomes a tool for growth rather than a source of regret. Ultimately, self-responsibility is a daily practice. It is cultivated through awareness, reflection, and action. It requires constant honesty with oneself, discipline in choices, and courage to face reality without excuses. Those who master this principle find that life is no longer a series of uncontrollable events, but a canvas where they are free to paint their own masterpiece, brushstroke by brushstroke, choice by choice. Responsibility is the ignition that sparks self-reinvention. Without it, rebuilding yourself remains a dream. With it, transformation becomes inevitable. Letting go of the past is one of the most difficult yet essential steps in rebuilding yourself. The past is a collection of experiences, memories, mistakes, and habits, and while it shapes who we are, it does not define who we must become. Many people carry the weight of past failures, regrets, and disappointments like a heavy burden, allowing it to limit their potential and influence every decision they make. The truth is that you cannot move forward with clarity and strength if your mind is constantly anchored to what has already happened. Clinging to the past can manifest in many ways: lingering resentment, self-doubt, fear of repeating mistakes, or even a constant comparison to who you once were. Each of these forms of attachment drains energy, clouds judgment, and prevents you from fully embracing the possibilities of the present and the future. Letting go does not mean forgetting or denying the past. It means accepting it, learning from it, and consciously choosing not to let it control your emotions, decisions, or vision for your life. Holding on to the past often stems from a fear of change or an attachment to familiar patterns. It is comfortable in a way to repeat the same behaviors and to justify them by pointing to previous experiences. People often say, "This is who I am because of what I went through." But in reality, using the past as an excuse limits growth. Rebuilding yourself requires the courage to separate your identity from past mistakes and to recognize that the experiences you've had are not prison bars, but lessons. Every error, every disappointment, and every hardship carries a seed of wisdom, but wisdom can only flourish if you release the emotional chains that bind you to what cannot be altered. When you let go of the past, you stop replaying old narratives in your mind and begin to create new ones, narratives that align with the person you want to become. Letting go also means forgiving yourself and others. Often, people hold on to guilt, shame, or anger for years, believing that these emotions are a form of accountability or justice. Yet, the reality is that harboring these feelings only prolongs suffering. Forgiveness is not about excusing bad behavior or pretending events never happened. It is about reclaiming your own power and peace. When you forgive, you release the grip of the past over your emotions and mental state. You open space for clarity, creativity, and growth. Self-forgiveness is particularly crucial because it allows you to accept that mistakes are part of the human experience, that failure is temporary, and that every misstep contains valuable insight for future decisions. The act of forgiving yourself is a declaration that your past will no longer dictate your present or limit your future. Another aspect of letting go is releasing old habits and thought patterns that no longer serve your highest potential. Often, these habits are deeply ingrained because they provided comfort or security at one point, but as you grow, they become obstacles. Negative self-talk, procrastination, fear-driven decisions, and dependency on approval are all examples of patterns tied to the past. To rebuild yourself, you must identify these patterns, understand how they originated, and actively replace them with behaviors that support the person you want to become. This is not a one-time task. It is an ongoing process of reflection, self-awareness, and intentional action. Every time you choose a new response over an old habit, you take a step further from the past and closer to your vision of yourself. Letting go also involves embracing change and uncertainty. Often people cling to the past because the future feels unpredictable or intimidating. They find comfort in what is familiar, even if it no longer aligns with their goals or values. Rebuilding yourself requires stepping into the unknown with faith in your ability to adapt and thrive. The past can serve as a guide, showing you what worked and what didn't, but it cannot predict the path forward. By letting go, you free yourself from the illusion that your past experiences must determine your future outcomes. You become open to new opportunities, new ways of thinking, and new ways of living that can propel you toward growth and fulfillment. Ultimately, letting go of the past is an act of self-liberation. It is a conscious decision to no longer allow memories, mistakes, or regrets to define your sense of self or your capacity to achieve greatness. It is about understanding that while you cannot rewrite what has already happened, you can rewrite your response to it, your perspective, and your trajectory. By releasing what holds you back, you create room for growth, for new habits, and for a life aligned with your true potential. It is through this release that you gain the freedom, clarity, and strength necessary to rebuild yourself, stronger and more capable than ever before. Having a vision for the future is one of the most powerful tools in rebuilding yourself because it provides direction, clarity, and motivation in a world full of distractions and uncertainty. Without a clear vision, it is easy to drift through life, reacting to circumstances rather than proactively shaping them. People who lack a vision often find themselves stuck in cycles of indecision, procrastination, and frustration, wondering why progress seems slow or non-existent. A vision is not simply a vague hope or wish. It is a detailed and compelling picture of the person you want to become and the life you want to live. It serves as a compass, guiding every decision, action, and effort toward a specific destination. When you see your future with clarity, it ignites a sense of purpose that transcends obstacles and propels you forward, even when the journey feels difficult or uncertain. Creating a vision requires self-reflection and honesty. You must ask yourself questions that are not always easy to answer. Who do I want to be? What kind of impact do I want to make? How do I want to feel about my life and my contributions? These questions push you to go beyond surface-level desires like financial success or recognition and explore the deeper values and aspirations that define your ideal self. A vision grounded in your true values becomes a source of intrinsic motivation that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. It transforms the abstract concept of success into a vivid, tangible reality that you can work toward every single day. Without this clarity, you risk building a life that aligns with someone else's expectations, societal pressures, or fleeting trends rather than your own authentic goals. A vision also shapes your decisions in profound ways. Every choice, no matter how small, can be measured against your vision to determine if it aligns with the person you want to become. For instance, if your vision involves becoming disciplined, knowledgeable, and healthy, then daily habits like reading, exercising, and prioritizing time over distractions become non-negotiable. Decisions about relationships, career moves, and even leisure activities take on new significance because they either support or undermine the vision you have set. This alignment between vision and action transforms ordinary behavior into deliberate, purpose-driven steps. It is this alignment that allows momentum to build over time, turning consistent effort into exponential progress and personal transformation. A powerful vision also requires imagination and belief. It is not enough to have a vague or realistic idea of where you want to go. The vision must excite you, inspire you, and sometimes even scare you a little. It must stretch the boundaries of what you currently perceive as possible, because growth occurs outside the comfort zone. When your vision challenges you, it awakens potential you may not have realized existed. Believing in that vision, even before it fully materializes, is essential. Doubt and hesitation erode progress, while faith in your ability to achieve what you envision fuels persistence, creativity, and resilience. A vision without belief is like a map without a journey. It exists, but it cannot transform your reality. Another critical aspect of a vision is adaptability. While clarity is essential, rigidity can be counterproductive. Life is unpredictable, and circumstances can change in ways beyond your control. Your vision should be detailed and compelling, yet flexible enough to allow for growth, learning, and unexpected opportunities. Revisiting and refining your vision periodically ensures that it remains relevant, inspiring, and aligned with the person you are becoming. A dynamic vision keeps you moving forward while remaining grounded in purpose, allowing you to adapt without losing direction or momentum. Visualization is a practical tool that strengthens your connection to your vision. When you vividly imagine yourself achieving your goals, experiencing the feelings associated with success, and living in alignment with your ideal self, your brain begins to recognize these scenarios as attainable. Visualization enhances focus, reduces fear, and primes you for action because it bridges the gap between imagination and reality. When used consistently, it builds confidence, reinforces commitment, and fuels the energy needed to overcome obstacles along the journey. Ultimately, having a vision for the future is what separates those who react to life from those who create it. It provides clarity amidst chaos, motivation amidst challenges, and a framework for making consistent, intentional choices. It is not merely a destination, but a lens through which you view every decision, every habit, and every action. By committing to a clear and compelling vision, you lay the foundation for purposeful growth, resilient determination, and the ability to rebuild yourself into the person you are capable of becoming. Daily consistent action is the bridge between vision and reality, the often overlooked factor that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Many people have goals, aspirations, and even a clear vision for the future, yet they struggle to turn that vision into tangible results. The difference lies in what they do every single day. Action, especially consistent action, is the force that compounds over time, creating momentum that eventually produces extraordinary outcomes. It is not grand gestures or sporadic bursts of effort that lead to transformation. It is the small, deliberate choices made consistently that define the trajectory of your life. Consistency is the invisible architect of success, quietly building foundations that eventually support extraordinary structures. The power of daily action comes from its cumulative effect. Imagine planting a single seed. It may take months or even years to see the fruit. But each day that seed receives water, sunlight, and care, it grows slightly, steadily, inevitably. Human progress works in the same way. Reading a few pages each day, practicing a skill for 30 minutes, or taking small steps toward health or discipline may seem insignificant in isolation. But over weeks, months, and years, the results are staggering. The compounding effect of daily effort multiplies, producing outcomes far greater than what sporadic or inconsistent action could ever achieve. The challenge is that this growth is often invisible at first, which is why many give up prematurely, mistaking early invisibility for failure. Consistent action requires patience, faith, and trust in the process, understanding that every small effort contributes to long-term transformation. Consistency also builds discipline and resilience. Discipline is not an innate trait, it is a habit cultivated through repeated, intentional behavior. When you commit to taking action every day, you train your mind and body to prioritize growth over comfort, effort over avoidance, and progress over procrastination. Each day that you honor your commitments, no matter how small, strengthens your capacity to act even when motivation wanes. Motivation is fleeting, unpredictable, and unreliable, but consistent action is steady, dependable, and self-reinforcing. It is through this daily discipline that you develop the resilience to overcome obstacles, adapt to setbacks, and maintain focus even when the path forward is challenging or unclear. Daily action also transforms thinking into results. Ideas, goals, and plans remain abstract until they are executed. A plan without action is merely a wish. A vision without consistent steps remains a dream. Taking action transforms thought into reality because it forces you to confront challenges, make adjustments, and learn through experience. Every step you take provides feedback, allowing you to refine your approach, improve your skills, and grow in ways that theoretical knowledge alone cannot provide. The process of acting consistently teaches lessons that no book, lecture, or seminar can fully convey, and it is through this practical application that real personal growth and rebuilding occur. Another important aspect of daily action is focus. Consistency requires not just effort, but deliberate effort aligned with your goals. It is easy to waste energy on activities that are busy but unproductive, or to become distracted by competing priorities. The key is to identify actions that move you closer to your vision and commit to performing them daily. Focused, repeated action creates mastery and builds confidence. When you see tangible results from small, consistent steps, it reinforces your belief in your ability to grow, strengthens commitment, and fuels motivation for the next step. Momentum builds naturally as each completed action makes the next one easier and more automatic. Daily consistent action is also a statement of personal responsibility. It is an acknowledgement that your growth, success, and transformation are not the result of luck, waiting for perfect conditions, or relying on others, but of your own persistent effort. Each day that you choose to act, you are consciously building your future, reinforcing the understanding that you are the architect of your life. By committing to consistent action, you create a rhythm and structure that supports growth, instills discipline, and gradually transforms intentions into reality. Ultimately, daily consistent action is the engine that powers transformation. Vision provides direction, knowledge provides guidance, but action produces results. Small, purposeful efforts repeated day after day accumulate into extraordinary achievement. And this principle applies to every area of life, from personal development to career, health, and relationships. The act of showing up every day, doing what needs to be done, and honoring your commitments is how ordinary people become extraordinary, how dreams evolve into reality, and how a life in need of rebuilding becomes a life of strength, purpose, and fulfillment. Learning and growth are essential pillars for anyone committed to rebuilding themselves because without them, transformation is temporary, shallow, and incomplete. Life constantly changes. Circumstances shift and new challenges arise, and the person who remains stagnant risks being left behind, trapped by outdated knowledge, habits, and perspectives. Learning is more than acquiring information. It is the conscious effort to expand your understanding, improve your skills, and elevate your mindset. Growth is the practical application of that learning, the process of integrating new knowledge and perspectives into your daily life in ways that produce meaningful change. Together, learning and growth form a dynamic cycle that fuels progress, builds confidence, and empowers you to navigate the complexities of life with competence and purpose. To commit to learning and growth, one must first embrace humility. It requires acknowledging that no matter how much you already know or how accomplished you are, there is always room to improve. Arrogance or complacency is the enemy of progress because it convinces you that you have reached your peak, when in reality, true mastery is an ongoing journey. Humility allows you to seek knowledge from a variety of sources, to ask questions, to listen to others, and to accept feedback without defensiveness. It opens the door to new ideas, innovations, and opportunities that you may have otherwise overlooked, and it transforms obstacles into lessons rather than insurmountable barriers. The willingness to learn is, therefore, a recognition that your potential is not fixed but expandable, and that rebuilding yourself is a lifelong endeavor rather than a one-time project. Continuous learning also provides the tools and strategies needed to adapt to change and overcome challenges. Life rarely follows a predictable script, and circumstances often demand skills or insights you may not yet possess. By consistently seeking knowledge, studying new approaches, and understanding the principles that govern success in your chosen areas, you equip yourself to handle obstacles with confidence and creativity. Learning is not passive, it is intentional. Reading books, attending seminars, engaging in mentorship, exploring new experiences, and reflecting on past outcomes are all active ways to acquire the understanding necessary for growth. Each lesson learned increases your capacity to respond effectively, to innovate, and to make decisions that align with your vision for the future. Growth requires more than knowledge, it demands action. Without applying what you learn, knowledge remains theoretical, and transformation stalls. Growth occurs when you integrate new skills, adopt better habits, and expand your thinking into practical steps that elevate your performance, mindset, and behavior. For instance, reading about discipline or productivity is valuable, but true growth happens when you implement routines that reinforce those principles in your daily life. Learning and growth are inseparable from action, and those who rebuild themselves understand that theory alone will not change their circumstances. Every new insight must be tested, refined, and applied until it becomes a natural part of your approach to life. A commitment to learning and growth also builds resilience. When you continuously expand your abilities and broaden your knowledge, you develop a deeper sense of self-reliance and confidence. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming become opportunities to experiment, adapt, and improve. Mistakes no longer feel like failures, but like stepping stones, each providing feedback that accelerates your progress. Growth transforms fear into curiosity, uncertainty into exploration, and setbacks into lessons, allowing you to rebuild yourself stronger with every experience. Another critical aspect of learning and growth is mindset. Personal growth is not solely about external skills or achievements. It is about cultivating a mindset that sees potential rather than limitation, possibilities rather than obstacles. A growth-oriented mindset recognizes that intelligence, talent, and abilities are not fixed traits but qualities that can be developed through effort, reflection, and persistence. This perspective encourages risk-taking, experimentation, and innovation, all of which are essential for rebuilding yourself. By embracing a mindset of continual improvement, you remain adaptable, open to feedback, and motivated to push beyond comfort zones in pursuit of your goals. Learning and growth also foster self-awareness, which is essential for meaningful transformation. By consistently examining your beliefs, habits, and behaviors, you gain insight into what supports or hinders your progress. Self-awareness allows you to make intentional changes, to let go of unproductive patterns, and to replace them with practices that align with your vision for the future. It is through this reflective process that learning becomes internalized and growth becomes lasting rather than superficial. Ultimately, learning and growth are the engines that drive personal transformation. They provide knowledge, skills, mindset, and resilience, enabling you to rebuild yourself in alignment with your highest potential. By committing to lifelong learning and intentional growth, you create a life of purpose, capability, and continuous advancement, ensuring that every challenge becomes an opportunity and every experience a lesson that propels you toward becoming the person you are meant to be. Resilience and persistence are the forces that allow a person to continue rebuilding themselves even when life becomes difficult, unpredictable, or discouraging. Every journey of transformation is marked by obstacles, setbacks, and unexpected challenges, and it is not the absence of difficulty that determines success, but the ability to endure and adapt. Resilience is the inner strength to recover from failure, disappointment, or hardship, while persistence is the unwavering commitment to continue moving forward despite the obstacles in your path. Together, these qualities form the backbone of personal growth, ensuring that temporary difficulties do not become permanent limitations, and that every challenge becomes an opportunity for learning and improvement. Those who rebuild themselves understand that life will never be free of adversity, but they also know that the measure of their success is not the challenges they face, but the way they respond to them. Resilience begins with mindset. It is the ability to see failure not as a reflection of your worth, but as feedback, a signal to adjust your approach and try again. People who lack resilience often view obstacles as insurmountable barriers, allowing frustration, fear, or self-doubt to stop them in their tracks. By contrast, resilient individuals approach challenges as temporary and surmountable, understanding that every problem contains lessons and opportunities. This perspective transforms difficulties from sources of despair into catalysts for growth, allowing you to maintain focus, energy, and motivation even when circumstances seem stacked against you. Resilience is not a trait that one is born with. It is developed through repeated experience, reflection, and the conscious choice to confront adversity rather than avoid it. Persistence complements resilience by providing the discipline to continue taking action despite delays, setbacks, or repeated failures. Transformation is rarely a straight path. It is a winding journey that demands consistency, patience, and repeated effort. Persistence is the refusal to quit when progress is slow or when the results are not immediately visible. It is the decision to show up every day, to do the work even when enthusiasm fades, and to maintain faith in your vision and goals. Those who persist understand that extraordinary outcomes are rarely the result of sudden breakthroughs, but of steady, determined effort over time. Each small, repeated action compounds, and persistence ensures that these efforts continue until the desired transformation is achieved. Resilience and persistence are strengthened by perspective. When you understand that challenges are an inherent part of life, and that no path to growth is free of difficulty, it becomes easier to remain steady in the face of setbacks. Life will test your patience, your discipline, and your commitment, but each trial is an opportunity to build emotional, mental, and physical strength. Developing perspective means recognizing that temporary discomfort or failure does not define your ultimate outcome, and that endurance in the present moment is a direct investment in your future. The most successful individuals are not those who avoided failure, but those who used it as fuel to refine their strategy, strengthen their skills, and deepen their resolve. Another essential aspect of resilience and persistence is emotional regulation. Challenges often provoke frustration, anger, fear, or disappointment, and how you manage these emotions directly impacts your ability to persist. Resilient individuals learn to process negative emotions constructively, using setbacks as data rather than as personal condemnation. They maintain focus on the larger vision while addressing obstacles strategically rather than reacting impulsively. This emotional stability allows for clarity in decision-making, creativity in problem-solving, and consistency in effort, all of which are crucial when rebuilding oneself. Resilience and persistence also require self-belief. Without confidence in your capacity to overcome adversity, it is easy to succumb to doubt and give up prematurely. Belief in your ability to adapt, learn, and grow fuels the courage necessary to face challenges head-on. It is reinforced through repeated experience. Each time you endure hardship and continue moving forward, your belief in your own strength grows stronger. Over time, resilience becomes habitual, and persistence becomes instinctive, creating a powerful feedback loop that amplifies personal growth and reinforces the foundation for future success. Finally, resilience and persistence cultivate patience and long-term focus. Transformation is rarely immediate, and those who rebuild themselves must understand that results compound over time. Setbacks are not signs of failure but part of the natural rhythm of growth. By maintaining persistence and resilience, you develop the ability to endure uncertainty, overcome obstacles, and continue moving toward your goals even when progress is slow or imperceptible. This combination of strength, perseverance, and patience ensures that temporary difficulties do not derail your long-term vision, allowing you to emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. As we reach the end of this journey together today, remember this: rebuilding yourself is not a one-time event or a distant goal. It is a commitment you make every single day to take responsibility for your life, to let go of what holds you back, to envision a future that excites you, to act consistently toward that vision, to learn and grow without limits, and to persist with resilience even when the path gets tough. Each of these steps is within your control, and each small choice compounds into the extraordinary life you are capable of creating. Life will test you, challenges will come, and obstacles will appear, but your determination, your vision, and your daily actions will determine the strength of the life you build. So go forward with courage, with discipline, and with faith in your ability to rise above yesterday. Embrace the process, trust yourself, and never underestimate the power of consistent effort. The person you want to become is waiting on the other side of your commitment. Good luck on this journey, and thank you for allowing me to share this moment with you. Now go rebuild, rise, and thrive.